Bienvenidos! Welcome to my great-great-grandfather's $7,000 mansion that I am 100% restoring and remodeling. And also, big thank you to Factor for sponsoring this video. Today we are going to be working up in the attic where we have no air conditioning. It is still there. It is hot. I'm definitely not going to need this. Before we get started working, I might as well give you a little tour. Out here we have kind of where we throw all our scraps out the upstairs window. We definitely need to get the dump truck over here to get this stuff picked up before it kills the grass. But that's a project for another date. Oh, that sun gets us right in the eyeballs. We are on the main floor right now. So this is going to be the kitchen. It's a big old room. And then we have the dining room right here. Then this is going to be the kitchen pantry. We have a wall going across the back. That is going to be a bathroom over there. And then when we continue this way, we can go into the living room. I absolutely love the windows in the living room because we just have this absolutely incredible view out there. Look at this. That is awesome. We do have some dead trees out there that we're gonna have to get to at some point. There's a lot of them in there if you look really closely. And we also need to get that trash picked up. But this is the living room. So we can come out this door over here. And right now we don't have the stairs in place. We have a ladder sitting right here. So we can look way up into the peak of the house. So that's kind of cool. We're gonna be working way up there today. But continuing on with the little tour here, we can go out onto the front porch if we so please. And then once again, absolutely incredible and beautiful view. And this is cool because it wraps all the way around to the other side of the house. I mean, we can just get our steps in out here if we want to. We don't need to go out and about on the roads walking. We can just walk a laps around the porch. But then this takes us into the kitchen. So I want to go upstairs because that is where we are going to be working. So this takes us to the second floor. We just built these stairs the other day. So they're temporarily set up right now, at least with the coverings, just plain 2x6s on the top. But when we get up into the second floor, we got a lot of construction going on up here as we can see. So look up into the attic balcony. I absolutely love this view from here right now. And we got the big window up there. Definitely needs a cleaning, covered in bird poop. But when we go here in the back room, this is one of the bedrooms. So we got the closet on the left side. Oh, there's that sun again, getting us right in the eyeball. Then this is a bathroom. And then the rest of what we got over here is going to be a bedroom. Once again, absolutely incredible view. Look at that through that window. You get the sun shining on this just right. It turns into little prisms on the wall. Very cool. And then the other bedroom that we have up here right now is right over here. And so this is a big old honking bedroom. We got a bathroom spot on the right side, and then we have a closet. Now in the back of the closet, this is kind of cool because, ooh, we got another set of stairs. Then we can go up into where we are actually going to be working today, which is up in the attic. We're gonna be working on that thing. If you take a close look at the stud that's right beside me, notice how the top is closer to me than the bottom is. That's because it's leaning like this. That's not good. 107 years ago, when they built this house, they took the studs on the second floor and then they built them to a plate. And then from that plate, then they built these little baby studs that are on top of it. And they go all the way around the entire attic. So this little top wall that they had up in the attic was not impressively strong by itself. So what they did when they built is they took a piece of wood going from the top and then they angled it down to the floor. So it made a triangle right here. And that helped make this little 3-foot tall wall really strong. But the problem is when we came in and put our subfloor in, we had to cut all of those triangle pieces out. So today, in order to keep the house from falling on itself, we are going to be installing these pieces of wood that are going to angle down into a nice little strong triangle. Now I'm not trying to be mean to any triangle pieces of wood, but these triangle pieces of wood are extremely ugly to look at. So our way of getting around that is while we are installing these support brace triangle pieces, whatever you want to call them, we are also going to be building a new wall. So it's going to be coming out 2 feet from the outside wall, and that is going to hide all of those triangle pieces behind it, so we will not have to look at them, and we will just have a nice, clean wall. So any minute now, my neighbor Justin and my friend Roman are going to show up, and they are going to help me build all of these little walls and all of these little supports. But before they get here, I think I'm going to go change my clothes. I have wore pants to work pretty much every single day for the last 3 years. Just standing up here in the attic right now, look at this. I'm already starting to sweat through these things. That is disgusting. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm gonna go put some shorts on. Oh, Roman, what do you think?
I think we have enough rain.
No. What do you think?
Oh, it looks great on you, Cole.
When I walked in, Justin was like, holy cow, I don't think I've ever seen you wear shorts before.
Oh, really? Well, I haven't either, but you look very stylish.
Yeah, well, I got my Cornstar Farm socks on. You look at that.
Yeah. Why the shorts are not Cornstar?
It's a slow process getting into the apparel game here, Roman. All right, Justin, what is the plan of attack for today? And is that a new miter saw?
It is. Roman went to Minnesota last night and got it.
That thing sounds... This is battery powered? Are you kidding me?
He used Cornstar credit card.
Holy cow.
So you might have some charges on your credit card. He just gave the guy the number and said, just have the number.
That's the cost of running a remodel.
No, but seriously, what's the game plan, Justin?
We're gonna put these bottom plates and top plates on and start putting our studs in and cross bracing and get this perimeter done on this so it's more solid.
Justin told me to start working on these ties, which is a very crucial component of this roof system, because it's going to be something that prevent roof of pushing the wall out. Hey Cole, why did you put this board crooked like that?
Well, so in 1977, this part of the roof was actually hit by a tornado. It was completely ripped off the house. And when they built this back, for whatever reason, these ceiling trusses that are supposed to have a board running underneath, there's nothing there. And so this has settled over time, almost 2 inches. So from right here to right here, 2-inch settlement. So not really much we can do about it other than build the wall that dives down.
Typical contractor answer.
It's always the other guy's fault, Roman. It's always the other guy's fault.
Back to the ties. We still do not have them pre-designed, so I'll have to come up with whatever angles we need and composition of this tie to accommodate proper structure. So my job is going to be design these ties and make them work. That's what our cross brace is gonna look like. We have enough meat here to screw, put the screw this way, put a screw down this way, and quite a bit of material to have a good penetration and attachment on this board. And what we're gonna try to do, I guess, attach these boards close to the studs. All we have to do now is make 20 more of these.
We're getting a really nice start upstairs, and today I am on lunch duty. We've been going to the grocery store pretty much every day for the last 5 months and getting whatever their lunch special is. So we've had a lot of subs, and to be honest, I'm kind of getting a little bit tired of subs. So today for lunch, I'm going to be trying something new, which is Factor. If you're not familiar with Factor, it is fresh, never frozen food delivered right to your front door and ready to eat in 2 minutes. Between my house restoration and farm work, I do not have time to cook. Hence where Factor comes into play. Fresh, never frozen meals, no prep, no mess, heat and eat in 2 minutes. And not only is this fast and easy, they have over 35 meals that I can choose from every week. So I'm not eating the same thing again and again and again and again. So here we go, let's cook this bad boy up. We got loaded loaded bacon shredded chicken with sauteed spinach, green beans, and ranch sour cream. The instructions say that I can eat it straight from this container, but honestly, I prefer eating from a plate, so I'm gonna transfer it. If you would like to give Factor a try, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code CTC50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code CTC50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Ah, it's hot. That was really good.
The lunch is over. We shall continue. And Cole, thank you for the food.
So this next detail here, while it's probably not super important, while we got everything open and exposed, I'm gonna just take care of it. Back here we have the old roof line that came down, or the supports they would have used to build the roof. And over the years, all the birds that have lived up here, every single horizontal surface in the entire attic has been pooped on a lot. And this set of wood right here is no exception. So before we get sheetrock and stuff up on this, I'm just gonna come in here and chop this out with the Sawzall. I figured if there's less material up here with bird poop on it, it's not going to carry a smell at all. Granted, we shouldn't smell it if we have the drywall and everything on, but like I said, we have it open, we're just gonna take care of it, then that way we know we won't have to worry about this. Another one of the many challenges of this house being over 100 years old is the fact that this roof line, all of these are not the same angles. Some stick out a little further, some stand up a little taller. So each and every single one of them is its own individual measurement. So sometimes you just gotta go in and do a little bit of modifying and a lot of bit of modifying, but we're making it work. I'll be honest, today has felt pretty slow to me so far, mostly because I don't really understand what we are doing. I'm not getting a lot of brain stimulation, or at least I wasn't up front, because Justin and Roman are making all these angles and getting things to line up, and they just whip out a tape measure and measure here, there, there, and they're like, oh, I know exactly what angle I need to be at. And I don't know how to do that. Or I didn't know how to do that going in, but watching them, I've been learning a lot. And this is one thing I really like about construction. Whether we're building a wall in the basement or we're building a wall in the attic, they're both walls, but it can be a completely different process. And that is so stimulating to my brain. And it is just fun being able to learn all these little things, because every little bit that we learn from one thing ties over into another job in just a little way. And the more we keep doing that over and over and over, then before we know it, we can jump into any project and we just know how to do it, because we have so much experience from other areas. Even though we may not have done that particular thing, since we've done something else that was so similar to it, we can just figure it out and get it done. And that is what I really like about this. So maybe a little slow, but I am learning a ton, and that is the most important thing of it all. We are now completely done with the little wall over here and over there, and we have all the bracing behind it. It's a little bit hard to tell because the studs kind of blended a little bit, but that's the bracing in the back. So this corner is now nice and strong. We do have some work that we need to do right here where the roof is coming down. We want to build a little wall out so that way we have a little bit more support. The thing is, we have a designer working on how the entire layout is going to be, and we don't want to do a bunch of work, build a wall out, and then the designer plans come in, then they are different, and then we have to take it back out. So we're just gonna focus on the outside for right now and just get things nice and strong. Then once we get the designer plans, then we'll build it how it's supposed to be built. We don't have to do anything around the windows. Justin already rebuilt under the windows a couple years ago, so those are all done. Same thing with that window. That one is already all done, and it's not like we could get over there anyway if we wanted to, because that is a long way down. This window's all done. So we've been working over in this corner. Now, we got a little bit of wall made over here, but we do not have any of the angle supports in yet. Now, as annoying as Justin's phone may have been to us all day, beeping saying rain coming, flood warnings, yada yada, it started beeping saying we are in a tornado zone. If we look out on the horizon, it is starting to get just a little bit darker. Apparently my mom is in the basement at work right now, so we are calling it a little bit of an early night. We don't have the attic as strong as we would like it to be, especially with these winds coming, but we are not going to risk it, so we are going to resume work in the morning, and hopefully we have no storm damage. And the thunder is already starting to grumble. All right, we will be back in the morning. Boogity, boogity, boogity. It's been 12 hours for me and about 1.2 seconds for you, but we had absolutely no storm damage. Look, the trees, everything is all there. House is still intact. We just got a bunch of rain, and we have some pretty good flooding going on down at Dad's house. But other than that, things are looking pretty good. We are going to resume work up in the attic. Did you beat Justin here this morning?
He was here already.
Well, where's he at now?
No, I walked into the empty house and radio is going and no sign of Justin.
We're gonna continue building these walls today, and I'm hoping later today the spray foam insulation guys are gonna come out, because right here we have some sort of problem going on. This is extremely squishy. It's not supposed to be like that. It should be hard. Like, this is like hard styrofoam, and over here we can squish it in. It's almost like it's still wet, and then you can come behind it and actually pull it out, and it's not stuck behind on the wood on the back side, and that's not right. Anywhere else it sticks and you absolutely cannot get it off. So I think when they were changing out their spray, when they ran out of one tank and moved to another, maybe the mixture wasn't quite right, but he was gonna come look at that and get that taken care of for us. And so I'm hoping he's gonna come out later, but I actually need to run outside right now. I have a meeting with some guys over on the bin site, so I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna leave you guys with Roman. I'm sorry, I know you'll be okay.
We're moving along, but the process is kind of a little bit slow because every wall and every spot is different. So we have to custom made everything. It's not like a cookie cutter. The wall that we build, everything is the same. We stand it up and nail it in place or screw it in place. But I'll show you what we've done so far. As we come up in the attic, we started here. This is all finished up, braced up. Then we come around the corner, then we started here. We don't know exactly what we'll be doing here, so we kind of stopped there to finish up when we can figure stuff out. And then it wraps around in this corner here. This section is done. Justin just put this up here, and I'll be working on cross bracing this section. And he'll be done pretty soon here in this corner, and move on onto that spot. And that should conclude our project.
I'm now back from my farm meeting that took a little while longer than I anticipated it to, but it looks like Justin and Roman, they got this wall all made out. They got all the supports made on the backside. So now they are working over there.
Do you love
Get
me?
that out of my face. Yeah, I love you. I'm not saying it again.
I don't know what's up with these contractors. They just grab boards, they just start cutting, and they're like, didn't work. Grab a new board. And here's a good example. It just like, oh, just start cutting. Don't measure.
It's the cost of remodel, Roman.
Yeah.
And I was outside for 2 hours in the sun, and my knees are all sunburnt now, so I'm just gonna have to take it easy. I'll let you guys take care of everything. Sawzall, I accidentally cut this floor joist a little too far over. So this one's clear, so we're going to be able to scissor something up beside it to beef up where it connects to the wall. It's going to be right here. But this one I got to scrape back a little bit of foam. After 2 days, we do now officially have all of this extra bracing and this little wall completely built up in the attic. I am really happy with how this looks. When we initially talked about doing it, it was going to be pulling the outside wall in, and I was concerned it was going to make the room look a lot smaller, but honestly, I know we can look through it right now, but it does not make the room feel nearly as small as I thought it was going to, which is a really good thing. To be completely honest, the reason why it doesn't really feel that much smaller is before the ceiling dropped so low down against the exterior wall, it was completely unusable space in the first place. So now we're just bringing it out to more of the space we would actually be utilizing. And so once we get everything boxed in, I'm sure it'll make things feel different. But for right now, I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. Right here at the top of the attic stairs, we have this little kind of boxed in area. If anybody has any ideas on what we should put under there, I feel like a 4x4 area, yes, the ceiling is low in there, but I feel like we could utilize it for something. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to put a little door or something in there and be able to store blankets or pillows or I don't know. There's another one over here as well. This one's twice the size of the other side, but to me it just doesn't make much sense. Like, I don't want it just sitting out in the open, but you know, you open a cupboard door or something and then you can get in there. I also think the kids would find that to be a cool place, and then if we just have random things we need to store or whatever and don't want to look at them in the rest of the attic, right there would be a place. And it wouldn't be very hard. We just have to move these boards over a little bit to be able to frame up a door. So if anybody has any ideas on what we could use that spot for and the one on the other side, I would really appreciate it, because I'm kind of sitting at a little bit of a loss right now. The only thing I can think of is pillows and blankets. Now notice how we still have these trusses, and then we have these 2x6s running temporarily down below, down on blocks, to help support this valley for the roof, so that way the things don't collapse in. The designer is currently working on what we are going to be doing as a final build right here. We could potentially be building more of a wall, so our wall could come all the way over to here, and then we'd have to tie it into the ceiling somehow. We just want to make sure it's looking good from down below, because from down there looking up, we don't want something looking all weird and boxy. Like, it needs to flow into how everything else is up here. That is not the only part that we need to do that on. Over on this side, we're gonna have the exact same thing. Over on that side of the big window, we're gonna have some sort of little something to support that there. Then over here, we have the same thing. And then right there, there's a lot of alleys in this roof, so there's gonna be a lot of putting things together, and some of the things I think are going to be designed, and then once we get them up and see them, we're going to get a better visual, and we may have to change some stuff, but I guess we have to start somewhere. And this is just a weird roof with a lot of places that need to be supported. So this is probably the most difficult part of the entire attic build, is just figuring out how we are going to support these valleys. Another challenge that we are going to run into, notice how this top plate is level, but then once we get right to that split, then it starts to dip down as we get over towards this part of the roof. Well, that's because these trusses sit lower, than these trusses. All these ones are in line, but these ones dip lower. And we don't just have that in one spot in the attic, we have it in two. We can see the exact same thing right here. As we follow that top plate, there's a big dip in it. It drops almost an inch from right there over to here. So our solution to this is we're gonna take a 2x4 and we are going to slap it on these trusses all the way from this top plate to the peak of the house, way up there, on every single one of these trusses. This is going to be a job where the laser is extremely important because some of these trusses are going to have the 2x4 sticking out this far. Some of them are going to be sticking out that far. We just want to get the front face of these 2x4s, when we look at them from straight behind, all equal with each other, because then we'll basically be able to hide the fact that that board dips down, and then all of our drywall will look nice and straight. So this is going to be a job, but we're not doing that today, but it's something that we're gonna need to address at some point. We're just kicking the can down the road right now. This wall that we have built right now, albeit that is dipped down, this is the whole structural part of everything. So this is what's keeping everything nice and strong, and the only issue with that dipping down is the roof has sagged there, but the house is over 100 years old, and that did that a really long time ago. And it's held up since, it's not leaking anything, and it's survived some serious windstorms, so I think we're okay there. It's just more a cosmetic visual thing with the drywall. So we're gonna have a lot of work just to make our drywall look straight, which is annoying, but what do you do? As we've been working up here, I've also been keeping a mental note of what we still need to have spray foam. So like right above me where the chimney used to poke through, once we got the chimney out, we framed everything up and then we put shingles back over that, but like we need to get insulation up there. The insulation guy did get back to me today about this, and they want to come pull this part out and then check these other areas to make sure nothing else is like that. But they do want to take care of their problem, but I told them to wait because we are going to be doing more spray foam insulating in the future, and I'd rather have them come out and be able to do some big rooms so that way they're not wasting a trip out here just to do one little 30 square foot spot. So that is going to be addressed at some point. And then when I was looking around, I did find a couple spots in a few areas, like some of these spots that we intentionally chipped out so we could put these braces in. We'll have those, spray those back up. And then there's just a few little areas here and there. There's a ton of surface area up here in the attic, and you know, sometimes a spot maybe that big gets missed. Not the end of the world, but I just want to have it filled at some point, so I've definitely been keeping an eye out for those things. So with the exception of maybe 2 days worth of work of actually working up in the attic, building out those little support walls in the corners and maybe those little cubby spaces, making those into things, and then making sure that our drywall stuff is going to be straight, we are done framing up in the attic. We are also done framing in the second story of the house, and we're done framing the main floor. Well, sort of. We still have actually a fair little bit of framing now that I think about it. Or at least a fair bit of building. Right here is where the master staircase is going to be. You can see the big hole up above my head. We have the designer working on a better staircase layout than what we could come up with. We want this to be a showpiece that actually looks cool, not just be a set of stairs. So once we get the actual design back from the designer and come up with something that we like, then we still need to build these stairs. So that's gonna be a pretty big project. It's not too hard, at least we have everything else framed and leveled, and so it's literally just designing everything and putting them together and getting them up. So it really shouldn't be too bad. And then over here we have the kitchen. We are not going to have this door here, so we're gonna be taking that door out. We need to frame in where the door is now. And then I do not know if we are going to be keeping these windows in these locations, so we could potentially be pulling them out and framing them up and then moving the window perhaps here, or maybe even making this particular one bigger. The kitchen is also still in the designing phases of how we want everything to look, so once we get that back from the designer, we'll be able to come in a day, be able to pull out the windows, move things, build things bigger, do what we gotta do. Not the end of the world, we gotta get the design part done first. It's always the designer's fault here, I feel like yeah, we would've had this project done if it weren't for the designers. Come on, designers. I'm just kidding, you guys are awesome, but we are waiting on the designs. So then once we get everything out, it'll pretty much look just like this. There used to be a window right here. We'll get everything spray foam insulated over, and then it'll look just like the rest of the wall. And then we also have the windows. Some of them we are going to be making wider. Some of them we are going to be making narrower or taller, depending on if they're going in a bathroom or something. But otherwise, every single window in the house is going to be getting pulled out, and then we are going to be replacing them all with new ones, because I'm pretty sure every window we have in here, this one is original to the house, so is the bottom part. These other ones are probably 1970s, and if you stood here with a candle during the winter time, the candle would get blown out. So it is time for new windows. But basically, once those things are done, then we will be fully ready to run electricity inside the walls, plugins, light switches, lights up top, anything electrical related, you name it, we will be ready for. Actually, kind of, sort of, not really, because down here in the basement, we have some super old, sketchy wiring that I don't want any business with that. That is really dangerous looking. Now, if I'm not mistaken, in 1968, they installed this well, and at the same time, they also had an electrical panel over there where they brought electricity from that panel on the other side of the dumpster. They ran everything underground, and then they tied into the basement on this side of the house. Which is all fine and dandy, that electricity works just fine, but we have one little problem. We are planning on building a garage on this side of the house. I live in Iowa, so we get freeze-thaw cycles. So if you do not get below the frost when you pour concrete, it freezes underneath, and then the concrete pad will literally just heave up, and the frost will move it as an incredibly powerful force. So the way we get around that is we have to dig foundations, and we have to dig footings that go well below the frost line. So we are literally going to be digging like 6 feet deep right through here, and we are going to go right through where that electrical wire line is. So we are going to have to move it. So instead of us having our electricity come into the house over here, as well as all of our electrical boxes, we are simply just going to back up, and we are going to come over to this side of the basement, and somewhere in this room, I'm thinking potentially somewhere over here, which we have some work to do on this wall first before we do it, we can mount the new box. So with the new box mounted, we will be able to get electricity supplied into the house, we'll be able to get things wired up, ran down to the boxes, and then we'll have everything fully juiced. So then we'll be ready for plumbing. Back into the basement we go. Underneath of where this plunger is sitting is where the main plumbing comes down. You can see the old plumbing line where the toilet water, wastewater, everything would have dropped into. Then it drops underneath of the floor. Right on the other side of this wall, that particular pipe runs under the floor, and it shoots out that back corner of the house. That corner of the house is right behind me, and that septic line is 12 feet below where I am standing. And it's original to the house, 107 years old, and guess what? It is made out of clay. Like a clay pot. You know how they break over time? Yeah. The plumbing in this place was overdue like 57 years ago. So that means we are going to have to come down into the basement, remove the concrete, and we are going to have to put in new septic lines. Basically exactly what we have right here. This one is cast iron. We are going to be putting in PVC plumbing, but they're gonna run down the wall just like this and shoot into the floor, and then we'll have everything plumbed up under the floor, so that way all of our wastewater can get away. We're actually gonna have to do that in 3 different places because we are going to have 3 bathrooms. One of the bathrooms is going to be straight above these 2 windows. The other bathroom is going to be on the complete opposite side of the house in that back corner. And then the other bathroom is the polar opposite of that, all the way over in this corner of the house. And then we'll have to plumb everything together, and then instead of shooting out that corner of the house like we were before, we are actually going to be shooting out this corner of the house. Pardon the mess right here, but that corner of the house is right there where that gas line comes in, so we have to dig down right there. We are going to have to remove that gas line or dig through it and then replace it. But then we will have to build a line coming out here. Then we will have to dig and install a septic tank. And then beyond that, we are going to have to dig and install a leach field for the septic tank. And then once we get done with the septic tank, we are going to be coming back down into the basement because we have everything all tore up. We need to get our concrete replaced. And while we're replacing the concrete, look at this. We have water in the basement. How did that get in here? The basement walls go about 8 feet below where I'm sitting, and we need to dig to the bottom of them so that way we can put in some water mitigation systems. This brings us to our next challenge. This is the bottom of the foundation wall, and I sure don't see a footer underneath that bad boy. So we just opened ourselves up into a whole new can of worms because we need to pour a footer under an existing foundation. So we are going to have to underpin the entire house so that way we can get our water mitigation system lower than what the bottom of the basement floor is. So that way we take care of the head pressure of water coming up from down below, and then we will not get water in the basement anymore. So we are literally going to come in, measure off 3 feet, take out the concrete, dig down underneath of the foundation all the way to the back side of it, and then we are going to pour concrete and put rebar and stuff underneath of there. Then we're gonna leave 3 feet, then we're gonna dig up 3 feet, do the same thing, leave 3 feet, dig up 3 feet, do the same thing. We're gonna do that around the entire perimeter of the house. Once that first part that we dug up sets and is ready to go, then we will do the parts in between that we skipped. And then once that's done, we'll be able to put in our water mitigation system. Then we'll be able to move on to the next thing. And did I mention that with the garage addition, we are going to have to figure out how to tie into the existing roof that we have. So we could potentially be looking at like literally pulling off half the roof and then building a new one on top of that. But then once we get that done, building this part should be pretty straightforward. So well, that's what we're looking at coming down the line.